Hey guys, we're going to do a spirit talk and we're going to pull some cards too. So wait for the cards. Stick around for the cards. Also, like and subscribe. I want to start. I think it's getting to be time. We just had the lunar eclipse. I probably should have done a collective on that day. The lunar eclipse is a big one that we just had. Lunar eclipse in Virgo, big one. And what's Virgo about? Paying attention to the little details. Okay, but also anytime we have a lunar eclipse, if any of you guys work with them, and I was at the yoga studio that night, we did our ritual because that's what we do. We don't just do yoga, we do rituals. Okay, and definitely that is kind of a, what do I need to get rid of, discard, what do I want to bring in? It's a whole lot of stuff. And then of course put with a lot of protection around and things like that. But you know, there's also at this time with this eclipse, there's a lot of things going on. But the more I just kind of sit back and observe, you know, one of the things we can see what's going on in the government, all these collapsing things are taking place, and a lot of people are afraid. Now, one of the first things I want to tell you guys, do not let fear take over no matter what. And I know some of you, if you are sharp enough, you know, inquisitive enough, you've probably sat there and you're like, you know, I was listening to these spiritual podcasts. You know, maybe you've been listening to Next Level Soul, or maybe watching some of the NDE videos and things. I like to look at those too, you know, various people and then have been talking about stuff or having interviews with people who've written books and all kinds of stuff. And they've been talking about, you know, maybe the 3D, 5D split of Earth, various things. But all you can see, though, you know, you've got all this, you know, these visions. Maybe you've read certain books like The Golden Future. I just finished reading it. You've probably seen a lot of spiritualists have talked about 2032 is supposed to be the year where everything's, you know, and then you've also seen the Kali Yuga. Some people say it ends this month, even this month. And some, you know, there's various dates. Everybody's saying that it's going on, and it's like all I see is darkness. Though when I look out in the world and everything's going on, there's wars, there's things, there's, you know, fascism's taking over, and you're kind of looking at that, and you're like, I really want to believe that the good is coming somewhere, but all I see is darkness. And so who's telling me the truth here? I know. But one of the things that I've been saying, and I just recently did a post, was talking about the butterfly. Okay, you've got the caterpillar. It knows one way of life, you know, and it pretty much crawls on the ground, crawls on plants, but then it inevitably has to go in the cocoon. You know, it may not understand exactly what's going to happen, but its nature is to go into the cocoon. And when it goes in there, what does it go through? Think about it for a minute. You know, it gets mushy, it goes crazy, you know, the whole chrysalis, metamorphosis, everything that's going on. And it's got to be ugly in there. And maybe it's even a little terrified. But inevitably, it's going to emerge the butterfly. It has to happen. And one of the things we know with yin and yang is if things are dark too long, inevitably the light is going to come here and it's going to start balancing it out. We know that we live in a world of duality, and it can only take one, you know, side for so long before the other one's going to start balancing it out. And just like, as you guys know, you can only take so much negativity in your life before you just go, I can't do this anymore. Like maybe you're in a relationship and it's, you know, it was good in the beginning and here comes the dark. Okay, things got negative, there was a lot of work, and then after a while that's all there is, and you're like, I can't do this anymore, and you got to save yourself from it because you can only take so much. Or say if you've been watching TV and you've been only focusing on negative stuff, and you're like, I got to break free, I can't look at this anymore, I need something positive. I see that's the way we are. We balance out, you know, as humans and stuff. But then, of course, when everything's going good and smooth, you know, sometimes it's like, oh, you know, people don't appreciate it. They might get a little bored and then they go walk on the wild side for a minute. So, you know, we're in a world of duality. But the butterfly, you know, before that caterpillar can become a butterfly, it's going to go through some ugly stuff. It's going to get in there, and it's going to be painful, possibly. I mean, the caterpillar may experience pain. It's transforming. It's going to get ugly. It can't see anything. It doesn't even know if it's even going to survive. You know, what about some caterpillars that don't even survive the process, but inevitably becomes a butterfly and it goes to freedom? Okay, so before we can, get to the good stuff, okay, the collapse of all this has to take place. So we're in the thick of it. And so when we talk about the new earth, or, Christians talk about even the second coming, or Hindus talk about, when Kalki is going to show up and wipe out everything and make everything all good. And notice there is a lot of talk of golden age. Like Trump's been talking about a golden age, and it's not quite a golden age at the moment, right? But he's kind of a dummers, and he doesn't understand what spiritualists for many years used to call that a golden age was coming. Or even, like I said, I just read The Golden Future. A lot of people have been talking about a golden age, okay? So, he is still as, terrible as he is, possibly even the Antichrist, okay? Some of us believe he's definitely is one, but also he's kind of there before all of that can happen. But before, people will finally desire, I can't take this anymore, this negativity, and want something good and better, and finally wake up and realize there's no separation with us. We're all one on this planet as a family. Before they can realize that and realize that, we are all God's source, there's a little spark in all of us, and we're all connected. Before we recognize that, because one of the biggest, you could say, evils in there is thinking we are totally separate from everybody else. That's called ego. Ego thinks it's separate from everybody else. And then when you take your ego down, you realize how connected you are to everyone. That's the big thing. That's really what it's about. But anyway, so before we can get to any kind of authentic golden age, because this ain't it, okay, everything has to collapse first. And how long that's going to take, it's ultimately up to us. It really is in the end, how long it's going to take. I wish I could give a perfect timeline, but one of the big things that I've been talking about a couple years, I told you guys, Pluto in Aquarius. But before we can get into any kind of golden age, there are some things that are coming to surface that are playing the role in here and stuff. And one of the big things I've talked about, and I've been sounding the alarm, and I know I'm not the only spiritualist, but is the rise of AI. Now, we are about, when people talk about the 3D, 5D split, before all that can even happen, we're about to have a split on the planet itself. And it's going to be those who conform and do this even more, stepping into and merging with the matrix, and AI will be the vehicle, and there will be those who reject it. And there will be those, and the setup is already happening. If you pay attention and you see everything lining up, you could see the setup happening. One of the things, when Trump got elected, he sat there with some big tech bros, and he said 500 billion is going to go in infrastructure toward AI. They're going to be building all kinds of things and bringing it in. America wants to be heading it and being, the superpower when it comes to AI, though China's got a lot going on itself. Okay, so they're already beginning it. Now, another thing that's going on is the collapsing of, federal structures. And one of the things they're coming for is Social Security. Now, let me just get you guys to kind of think about it. Let the wheels spin for a minute. Not trying to be a total conspiracy theorist here. It's just common sense. Okay, like he'll say, oh, we're not going after Social Security. We're going after waste, fraud, and abuse, right? Okay, that's what we're going after. We're not necessarily going to take it down, waste, fraud, abuse. And then we got Democrats going saying they want to privatize it. They want to do all this, okay? Now, one of the things, the elderly, we got a lot of boomers that are on Social Security, and some of you Gen Xers are like me, inevitably it's right around the corner. It's not that very far away. Okay. But one of the things kind of getting in there and going in and they're downloading all these systems. Like they try to go in, Doge goes in and breaks into these governments and they're downloading all this stuff. Now we all know that Elon is into AI and all that. He's also got Neuralink. Okay, he's got a whole lot of stuff going on that he's kind of working on and stuff. He wants to buy Chat GPT, Open AI, but I don't, they don't look like they want a deal. Okay, but he could still. He's already kind of come up with growth. He could still. Inevitably, he's going to get into something where he owns a big thing. It's coming. Okay. But anyway, breaking in all these systems, getting in all the computers, that's what they want. The computers, they want the data on people. Okay, notice they're collecting data. That's what we talk about. Your data's not safe. Your data's not safe, right? He's got the tech geeks, big balls and all them coming in, downloading our data. Okay, that's all set up for what's coming. So you guys got to be awake and aware. They're downloading computer data on all the citizens. Okay, so what do you think they're going to do with it? And so one of the big things, we know AI is emerging. We also got that, plus Trump also putting, he's going to put 500 billion into these AI tech bros. And I've already been talking to you guys, transhumanism is literally right around the corner. They're already chipping people in Sweden. So if they're chipping just even in little old Sweden, you think they're not going to want to chip us. Oh, and we've been talking about them chipping us, and we know Elon's got Neuralink. He's been putting his money into that. He's doing that stuff. And it's only a matter of time. Now, this is one of the big things. Let's think about it. Get the wheels going for a minute. They're going. Social Security is a big entitlement, is what they call it, but it's not really entitlement because we all put our money into it since the first day we ever started working. And then we started, once 18, started paying into Social Security. We've been putting into that pot, all of us for a very long time. So, we know at a certain point when we retire, we want to have that check, when maybe our little 401k or whatever else we've got. We don't want to work till we drop. We don't want to do that. I mean, there's a lot of elderly people that can't work. They can't be on their feet 8 hours a day or at a computer 8 hours a day or whatever it is. Okay. So anyway, but one of the people, and see, I know this because I worked in call centers for years, like a couple decades. Okay. And I talk to the elderly all the time. And if you're older, or even Gen X can be similar. You don't like anything automated. Like when they call in, if they've had to, they might even still be on a flip phone because they don't do this internet shit. You suggest to them, hey, you could go online and go on the website and do this, that, and they're like, I don't do that internet thing. You ask them if they got email. I don't have an email account. I don't do that stuff. Okay, so you got a lot of elderly like that. They don't want to deal with it. That's just the way they are. They come from a simpler time and they enjoy that time. Okay, so getting into learning a phone, learning a computer, learning how to do email, doing apps to pay all their bills. Elderly people don't want to deal with that. Okay, but what is one way you could get them to break down and take a chip? Because you think they want to chip themselves? And stuff is if that's the way you have to get Social Security. Like ultimately, they're talking about trying to take down the phone system, which is a lot of ways people file their claims when they're of age, or even people that are disabled file claims. They do it over the phone. Not everybody is internet savvy. And now elderly people aren't going to give up. I mean, if they got to stand in line all day long to file a claim at the office, they will stand in a line and do it because their survival depends on it. But if they, all of a sudden, here comes Elon and Trump, okay, you want your Social Security, you want to get your regular checks, you got to get a little chippy. Okay? Then once you got that, you're good. Go come in the office, get this and all that, and we can and then you'll start getting your checks. Okay? That's one way to get the elderly to conform because they're like I can't live with without my social security. Okay? That's one way. And then Gen X follows as they're aging as well. That's one way. And then they might not totally deny people who don't get it, but they might make it incredibly hard. Like maybe somebody turns 68, their retirement age, but they got to wait years before they get it versus getting a chip and getting it immediately. That's one way to get them to conform. Okay? And it's like, where do I get that? My downloads. Okay? When spiritualists talk about their downloads, that's one way to get the elderly to conform and comply and stuff. And then, of course, other people, yep, get a chip, you're good, and stuff. Pay for, go to the grocery store, wave a hand, do this, do that, do this, do that. But what is the price if you take that chip? And we've talked about it. We've talked about it. The price is your soul. Okay? Because one thing, they're wanting to do this, but you won't have bodily sovereignty. And what are the things they could get in your mind? They could get in all kinds of things. You lose the bodily sovereignty. You have no freedom anymore. So the price to, like say go to the store, go get groceries, do all this and stuff. And what they will do is try to make it harder and harder for you to be able to function in the world if you refuse. So what we're going to have coming up, and it's right around the corner, guys. I would, I could probably roll dice. I don't even think it would take that long. Maybe a few years tops before this becomes ushered out. Definitely within Trump's term. What number? Yep, there it is. Number 3. Number 3. That's what I figured. 3 years. That's what I was thinking. Right around the corner, they're going to roll this out. And this is where the spiritualist has to be wise and say, oh no, I'm not going to give up my bodily sovereignty. Because that will, one of the things it's going to do, it's going to cut you off from source. And it's also going to cut you off from your own inner world and your own divinity. It won't be private anymore. And that's where we are about to have, in this country, and it'll inevitably spread, 2 types of people. We're going to have people that conform because they felt like I have no choice. And at first, maybe life will be easier. But inevitably, here it comes. The slavery. And then there will be those who say no. That, I'll find another way to survive. And surviving will be tougher. But ultimately, when you cross the threshold, you'll be free. You'll be free. Let's pull some cards. Cosmic. Okay, and that is the 2 roads on Pluto and Aquarius. 1984 or freedom. Okay, and that's where you got to make the right choice. So I definitely want to get more and more videos warning you guys. Okay, that we don't put shit in our bodies. I mean, you got people that, talked about, I don't want a vaccine, during COVID. Okay, and stuff. But still, when their Messiah is saying, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, or when they press, your economic security, there are those that will cave and stuff. And some will happily do it. Oh yeah, I could have the intelligence of AI. Okay, all that stuff and everything. So one of the things, I've got the card support. So know that you've got your spirit guides, and also lean on support with friends, spirit, tribe, all that stuff. Know you are supported. You are not alone in this. I know it can feel very isolating and alone that all this is happening, especially if you are rejecting what is there, but you will have support and stuff. No matter what, we're going to practice gratitude, because one of the things we are going to do is reject that nonsense and have our freedom and everything. So make sure keeping the vibration high is important. And we got to be brave. I've got the bravery card. So we do need to be brave during this time. Do not let fear take over. And so, are the spiritualists right? And I know we get frustrated. All I'm seeing is darkness and collapse and everything. Yes, that is what you're seeing. You're not delusional, and it is okay. There are times it's moment. It's okay to be a little afraid. What if I lose my job? What if I lose my house? Okay, as long as you don't lose your soul, is what I'm telling you. Okay, you could always find another place to live. You can get another car, and you definitely can get another job, but your soul. This is the one thing we got to check out of planet Earth. Inevitably, when it's our time to go, we got to have that with us. We don't want to lose it. Nothing is worth losing that. Nothing. 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 Let me say that 3 times. Okay? And so be brave during this time. There will be more like you that resist and stuff and everything. And look at the blessing. One of the big blessings and stuff is to know we're not alone. Source Spirit is connected to their spiritualists. They're going to be there. And a lot of them out there, especially those light workers, have that seal of God. You're going to have protection. I got a card just jumped up. When they jump like that, you always want to pay attention. See how it just went like that? Growth. Okay, so we want to remember, and it says growth is a journey, trust each step. Yes, we've come here to grow, learn lessons, evolve, but we also have come here to help each other grow as well. So we want to make sure that we're reflecting and showing that growth is powerful. And yes, no matter what, we are on the trajectory to have a rebirth. Some of these systems have to collapse. The way they have been. America, there's good things that it has done, and there's things that are bad that it's done. And some is, like I was watching a video tonight, somebody was saying, is this America's karma? I mean, look what happened to Native Americans, to African Americans, the various things that happened in history, way they treated women, way treating other people, obviously LGBTQIA, trans, and all that. Is this America's karma? There, you know what? You ain't far off saying that. Okay? But we want to have a good understanding. Understanding is key to deep connections. Okay? And also understanding matters of the heart and everything. And I know sometimes it can be, when you see the darkness, raging and doing its thing, it can be hard to believe that love is the biggest superpower and it will conquer everything in the end, but it always does. Think back in history when love did win. Okay? And discovery. We're learning new things here. Discover the treasures within. Follow your passion. So maybe you lost your job, but Spirit's like, okay, now I want you to get with your passion. And tuning in to what you came here to do and so forth. So Spirit will provide. Remember that. And stuff. And determination. We got to be determined. Face challenges with determination. You can achieve anything. But yes, there's going to be, like I said, I showed you, I rolled a 3. It's just going to be a few years from now. They're going to roll it out. Just wait. It's definitely going to be in his term. They're going to be like, yep, you want your Social Security check, elderly. You want your disability checks for the disabled, the most vulnerable people. Or say some kind of health care and all those million things. Got to do this. You got to do this. And, chip, whether it's going to be here, the head, however they're going to do it. And it's a form of slavery. And they'll be selling it like it's, the best thing ever. But it's going to be a form of slavery and stuff. Is currency going to go? All that good stuff. We'll pull some tarot in a minute and stuff. Also, there are many doors that lead to the place you truly belong. Okay, many doors and stuff. That's what we want. The place we belong and stuff. And we don't want those doors shut on us and stuff. Answers appear when you release the question. Sometimes we got to do that. We're struggling. I know, like you, and there are times I do that, but I've learned to sit with it. Here's my question, and just kind of sit within a place of peace and let the answer come to me. Don't try to force the answer. It'll come to you. Spirit always answers. Always. Always. Except when a new door opens, walk through it and begin again. Okay, so doors will open and stuff. Portals will open. And then also, you've had the power all along. Now you just need to believe in it. And then since I've been using it a lot. We just had a lunar eclipse. We're going to pull from the Luna Tarot and see what Spirit has to say. Kind of pull some. Since I'm doing a Spirit talk, I'm going to keep the cards up here, or the camera up here. and stuff. We just kind of pull it. Yes, Knight of Swords. So Spirit knows, expecting the worst, sleepless nights, stress about things that are going on. You're worried about it, but Spirit is in charge. Remember that. And stuff. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for what you believe in. This is not the time to sit down and be quiet. Seven of Wands. That is about standing in power. Okay, so we all got to do that. And the more, and you're going to see it, there's going to be people in the streets. Okay, it's already happening, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and stuff like that. But also, Page of Wands, follow your passion during this time. Want to connect with Source Spirit? What have I come here? What am I meant to do here? And take action. The Wands are about action. Knight of Wands also popping up. Standing there, defend what you believe in, and so forth. Nine of Wands, absolutely. And stuff. And Two of Cups. Make sure you're with good soulmates and everything. We want to have good soulmate connections. Now, this is going to be challenging when people we love are just so misled. I know that's a big thing because we've had a lot of division. We've had a lot of division over the years, and that is the hard part. Sometimes we got to walk away from certain people if they ain't getting it and stuff. But, we do ultimately, inevitably want to heal those connections if we can and so forth. We do want to do that. Division sucks. Things are going to be happening fast. Now, I want you guys to notice, ever since Trump got in office, fast, lightning fast, all these things are happening. People can barely keep up with what he's doing. They're doing that on purpose and stuff, so it can be hard to focus. But one of the things you just know, no matter what, okay, I see all this collapse, trying to shut this down, trying to knock this out. I know what they ultimately want and stuff. They want to sit there and take the sovereignty of citizens and own even their very soul. Okay, that's them. It's like, okay, they're doing this, they're doing that. Everybody's distracted. They want to own my soul. It's very simple. That's the end game, because we got to think, what's the end game? It's a bunch of slaves where they own the soul. Okay, so they have, the sovereignty is not there. But being able to force everybody into that, no, because Spirit is large and in control and stuff, there will be choice. There will be choice and stuff. And then also, yes, children, same thing. We want to protect our children. Six of Cups. Okay. And stuff. And then, my ladies, this is going to be the age of the women. Okay, that we're going through and using those abilities, that love and compassion, the psychic abilities and all that. Pay attention to dreams and stuff. The women will be rising more and more. And see, this is a big thing when, just like I talked about the yin yang symbol, when you've got this heavy masculine energy going like this, inevitably the women are going to push back. Okay, we've got that divine feminine and masculine that needs to come into balance and stuff. And Two of Wands, yes, we're going to be at the crossroads. Absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about. So all this stuff, kind of pushing the card up here, okay, is leading to that crossroad moments. We're all going to face a choice. And inevitably, it's not going to be just this country. We're all going to face a choice and stuff. They're going to try to, squeeze, when it comes to survival and the economy and things like that. Especially your bank account. You want to get paid. You want to, buy food. You want to, have a roof over your head. You have to do this. And the thing is, you don't. Okay. And one of the things I do feel over this time as this happens is people that resist this will come together and work together and nurture and try to take care of each other and get each other by. When this becomes a system, and they're going to try to use coercion to try to get people to conform to this 1984 world where you do not have sovereignty. Just imagine people can tap into your mind what you're thinking, even down to your thoughts, that they have that capability. They may not say you can do that, but they will. They're getting advanced enough that they can do that stuff. And then doing this weird transhumanism stuff where you lose your humanity and your sovereignty. Now, Greg Braden, I've listened to some of his stuff, and he feels that as this progresses, there will be very few authentically 100% humans left. I don't think so. I think there'll be way more that reject it and everything. So, we definitely want, and especially people that have been working on a spiritual path many years, like an alternate path, that I feel they know better and everything. But then there are those that are maybe they're on a spiritual path, but they went to the wrong side, listened to the wrong people and everything, and they're kind of losing their way. So we want to have our sovereignty. That's where it's headed. Three comes up in about 3 years, and that's been the magic number for me as well. So that's about 2020, 28, but hopefully 2032, like they say, some people believe the 3D 5D split's going to happen. I know there's going to be a split, but will we be on the same planet, or will it actually do this, split like a cell and stuff? I don't claim I have the exact answer, but a split in humanity, I definitely have the answer, and that's coming. And it's going to be those that choose the 1984 way and end up conforming and going with that, and those that say no, I'm not doing that and stuff. I'm keeping my sovereignty. I'm saving my soul. That's what it's going to come down to. The ultimate choice, the two of wands sitting at the crossroads. I do hope this helps.